Ode to Aptera, the most efficient vehicle on the planet. Aptera cruising, wingless flight. I love Aptera, it feels so right. Glides down the highway, taking off from the sun. No,
I want to say thank you for the shout out on YouTube. I was absolutely astonished. My lovely wife and I sat down to look at some Aptera videos, and you called me out on your channel. So, first of all, I don't consider myself an expert in finance, but it's what I've been doing for the last 20 years or something. I've done a startup before. I never had an IPO, but I know about raising capital and investors and agreements and cap tables and all that kind of thing. First of all, Joe, I missed, because I was also, myself, my wife were at CES on the 9th, and I missed that investor presentation.
And, from watching your videos before, that's why I thought of you and called you out, because I've watched your videos for years. And you say you have this background, so instantly you popped into my head like you're the guy in the Aptera community that would have more experience in that field. So that's why I was thinking of calling you out by name.
Well, again, thank you. So kind of all that background said, I did take some notes. You asked, is something to the effect of, is there significance to this meeting, or what is the significance, or something like that?
Yeah.
And from my perspective, the short answer is we don't know yet. It could be big, or it could be insignificant. And I'll just, yeah, because
Sure, yeah.
there's been nothing in the press that says mega investors signed a $10 million term sheet, as an example.
Yeah.
But I'll just share with you a little story, because there were some investors there that CT&S and LG and the Korean government brought together. Just a little story.
Okay.
And it was shared to me by one of my angel investors. Like, the story that was told to me is that investors in early stage companies are like deer approaching a pond. They walk up cautiously and they look around to see if it's safe to step out of the forest and drink from the pond.
Okay.
And once that first deer starts to drink, the rest of the deer start to come more comfortably to the pond to drink. So investors in early stage companies are kind of like that. So when we start to get, and I believe we will, larger names that are announced that invest in Aptera, they're gonna all start coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
So that's my first spin. Is it significant or not? We don't know yet. Just like the $60 million note that U.S. Capital is putting together, it could take months for an investment to close. I help place bonds in the public market, municipal bonds.
Okay.
And it takes at least 3 months from the time you say, let's go, we're going to issue $40 million of bonds, $30 million of bonds. It takes at least 3 months. There's legal, there's the all these documents and all these people and authorizations and blah, blah, blah. So these things take time. Additional backdrop, if I didn't mention it before, I work for a state agency.
Okay.
And I work for a state economic development agency. it's not unusual that a state Ministry of Trade and Technology, like was mentioned at that meeting, to sponsor uh, a delegation, a business or investor delegation, to an event. So that's not unusual whatsoever. And during the initial presentation by, and I don't recall his name, I'm terrible with names, the CTNS CEO.
I believe his name is Jimu Kim, if I'm
Okay.
saying that correctly.
Okay. I'll defer to you. He mentioned that there were like, I think, three investment firms he was involved with, or probably invested in his company.
Mhm.
Um, and I may not have caught these correctly. It was like Mega Investment, Cent and H Ventures, and Com Ventures, and it was really hard to understand. Um, just it was a noisy recording, blah blah blah. But there was at least three different venture capital companies that were present, and the CEO, who he mentioned as he was acknowledging those investors being there, that Aptera could be a game changer, and that these investors are also international investors. So they were brought specifically, in my opinion, to be exposed to the opportunity to invest in Aptera Motors.
Well, that's kind of like what I was thinking that, because CTNS is a Korean company and they have this partnership with Aptera to build the battery packs. And they just signed LG Energy Solutions, which is another Korean company, to provide the cells. That's why they were bringing in these Korean investors to look at the total package for investment.
Right. And from an investor standpoint, if I was, and I don't know if I wrote this down, Mega Investments, if I wrote it down correctly, if I were Mega Investments, uh, an investment in Aptera would be a win-win. And it would be a win-win because I could help assure my investment in CTNS is successful, and I can hedge some bets. Yeah, maybe Aptera is going to be successful too. So there was a very distinct and purposeful reason why they were there. And let's see, if I were an investor, one of these three companies or so, I would probably make an investment.
Yeah, because you're
Now,
just not investing in Aptera, you're investing in the other companies that are linked to them that are also supporting or have signed agreements with Aptera.
exactly. Yeah. So I thought that was a very smart move. Uh, Probably supported by the state Ministry of Trade and Technology to bring them all together.
Hmm.
Um, you know, like I said, the state I work for does that type of thing. But I think it was a real opportunity for Aptera. Just bringing these people together, and like I said, it's really a win-win proposition in my mind. If I were one of those venture capital company meeting.
I think so too. And I just think it was interesting, like I said in the video, like it was unannounced.
Mm.
Like none of the ambassadors there or investors kind of knew this was being planned. And like I said in the video, I just happened to be at the booth recording some video for another video I want to put out, with nobody being there over the exploded body shell, and just kind of like saw them pull out the standee with the name. And I'm like, what's going on? Okay, let me get out my camera. Something big is happening and I want to get it on film.
That was fabulous, Joe. That was absolutely fabulous. I was probably wandering around taking pictures of the exploded body, or I don't know, getting a taco or something.
I
Uh,
mean, it kicked off at like 8 o'clock in the morning, 8:30. It was really early. So it was like before even like, CES kind of like officially opened. So
well, that's why I wasn't there. I'm not an early bird.
yeah, it was an early event.
Yeah. Then Chris made his pitch after the CT&S CEO kind of explained the meeting, made his introductions. Chris made a pitch, and it was clear. The CT&S CNO, he said, Chris is going to make a pitch, investment pitch. He mentioned fuel economy, and I think it was also very insightful on Chris's part that he mentioned, oh, by the way, we've raised over, $100 million or something in the crowd. And if I were an investor, well, I am, but a venture capital investor, that would whet my appetite because I know there's demand for an interest in the Aptera vehicle and company. And knowing that there's like $2 billion of pre-orders, if
Yeah.
if I were managing a pool of funds, those would be very compelling arguments to me to drop some coin into Aptera Motors.
And
So,
especially, with the engineering, they can show where they are. These are production intent, production validation vehicles. We are here, and they can actually put down the figures like they did with the U.S. Capitol information that came out. This is where the money's going. This is still what we have to, pay for, and they can actually show where that money is going to go. And it's, in my opinion, not like you're coming in and having to fund the whole company from the ground up. We already got $140 million of crowdfunded invested.
mhm. Yeah, good point. Excellent point. That's risk mitigation.
Yes.
Yeah, from a venture standpoint. So yeah, it was a good meeting. We don't know the results yet. Um, the world is full of opportunity. We saw opportunity exposed to us. We saw opportunity exposed to Aptera.
I think so.
Yeah. So, Joe, again, I want to thank you at your channel, Aptera Accessories,
Thank you.
for capturing that video, for shouting me out in it. I just happened to bump into it, and I've played the video several times to kind of get a sense of what was going on. I was just totally unaware. The company was exposed to some great investment opportunities, and
I think
that's
so
that.
too.
Yeah.
And you're welcome. Like I said, you were the man I thought of that would have a better understanding of like the significance of what this could mean for the company. So that's why I called you out in it.
Appreciate it. So tell me about Aptera Accessories. What's your objective with Aptera Accessories?
So Aptera Accessories originally came out of when I got involved as a brand ambassador. I've worked in custom aviation interior manufacturing for years. I have a very strong interest in automotive restoration and older vehicles. And with being an ambassador, I was like, the company's got to think about providing all these things after the fact, especially with the right to repair.
Hmm.
So I kind of just one day had that idea like, well, why can't I do it? I have a background in, doing a lot of high-end custom work. So why can't I provide this for the community and actually, make things for the community from a member of the community?
First of all, I think that's great. And I'm just going to share a tidbit. You've probably already thought about it. You might have CAD drawings already drafted. Who knows? Um, the side mirror assembly.
Yes.
I noticed there's 3 bolts that
Hmm.
hangs on. And it seems easy enough to me that you unbolt that and you put something like in Europe the Audi e-tron. It's just like a little blade that sticks out with the camera on it. Uh, that'd be awesome.
I do have some ideas for that solution to eliminate the side mirror, but it might be one of those install at your own risk
Oh, sure. Yeah.
because it won't be like technically street legal. But yeah, it's definitely something that's like top 10 on the list.
Yeah. Do you care to share what else is on the top 10?
Well, my big plan is is when I actually do pick up my launch edition Aptera, is to do a whole series of videos, hopefully in the parking lot of the headquarters in Carlsbad, and actually like modify the car before I drive it from California back to Philadelphia.
Wow.
And then I actually want to like do a whole video, like, blog of driving the car back across the country and driving it, what its experiences are.
Sure.
So,
Whoa, that's awesome. I've got my vehicle and I'm gonna mod it right now. And
yeah. I do
that's
want to say real quick, I apologize for the cat you might hear in the background.
well, it reminds me of Drive the Lightning.
Yes.
All right. Joe, I want to say thank you again. Let's keep in touch. There's exciting times that lay ahead.
Oh, no, absolutely. I definitely do think there are.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see you around.
Yes, absolutely. I'll stay in touch.
And
We
don't
have to do
forget,
another video.
thank you. And don't forget to charge on.
Absolutely. Solar charger.
Wingless flight. I love Aptera. It feels so right. The future is now. Protect Mother Earth. Keep her healthy for what it's worth. What's your pleasure, Luna or Soul? Let's save the planet. We're on a roll. Glides down the highway, taking off from the sun. No more drilling, can't you see? We're done. Aptera, gonna fight. Aptera, you know that it's right.
There you go.